Welcome to the Explainer. Have you ever just stopped and wondered, why do I act this way in my relationships? Well, today we're going to dig into something called attachment theory. It's going to reveal the hidden instincts that pretty much run the show when it comes to how you connect with the people you love.
Okay, let's just dive right in. To get us started, I'm going to ask a couple of questions, just, see which one feels a little more you.
So think about that for a second. Is there this little voice in the back of your head, that little bit of anxiety that your partner might just leave? Are you always looking for that little bit of reassurance that, yep, everything's okay? Or hey, maybe this one hits closer to home. Do you find that you really value your independence? So much so that when someone gets super close, it starts to feel a little suffocating, like you just need some space?
Now, whichever way you lean, these feelings aren't just random quirks. They're actually predictable patterns, and they're all explained by this really powerful framework called attachment theory. It was developed by a psychologist named John Bowlby, who wanted to map out our most basic relationship instincts. So where do these super powerful instincts even come from? Well, it turns out they're basically baked right into our biology. Let's take a quick look at the history behind why we need to connect so badly.
I mean, think way back. For our prehistoric ancestors, being alone was basically a death sentence. You needed your tribe for food, for protection. Connection was literally survival. So, over thousands of years, evolution hardwired our brains to form these super strong bonds. And guess what? That ancient programming is still running the show today. And here's the big takeaway from all that. Needing someone else does not make you weak. It makes you human. Seriously. Our need for a secure connection is just as real as our need for food or water. We're built for it. And this leads to something that sounds kind of backward, but it's so true. It's called the dependency paradox. See, when you have a secure base, like a partner you know you can truly 100% count on, it doesn't actually make you more clingy. It does the opposite. It makes you more confident, more courageous to go out and take on the world by yourself.
All right, so with that in mind, let's break down how this plays out in the three main attachment styles that psychologists talk about. Understanding these is really the key to unlocking your own patterns.
This chart just lays it out so perfectly. You can see the core problem right here. The anxious style craves closeness. It's what makes them feel safe. But that's the very thing the avoidant style is afraid of, because for them, closeness feels like a threat to their independence. And then you've got the secure style, who's just comfortable with it all. So to get that closeness they need so badly, people with an anxious style tend to use what are called activating strategies. These are all the thoughts and behaviors they use to try and pull their partner closer. Like texting a million times or even threatening to leave just to see if their partner will fight for the relationship. And then on the total flip side, you have people with an avoidance style. They use deactivating strategies to push people away and create distance. They might start focusing on their partner's tiny little flaws or daydream about a perfect phantom ex, all to avoid getting too close to the real person right in front of them. So this brings up a really interesting question, right? If these two styles are polar opposites, why on earth do they so often end up in relationships together? Well, it's a classic pattern, and it's known as the anxious avoidant trap. And here it is. This is the fundamental conflict. The anxious person needs closeness to feel okay, right? But that exact thing, closeness, is what triggers the avoidant person's fear and makes them want to run. It's like one person's medicine is the other person's poison. And what's wild is that they're drawn to each other because on some deep, unconscious level, they confirm what they already believe about relationships. The anxious person's pursuit makes the avoidant person feel self-reliant and in control. It's this crazy cycle that just proves their worldview right, even if it's making them both miserable. Okay, but here is the really good news, and maybe the most important part of all of this. Your attachment style is not a life sentence. You're not stuck. You can actually work to develop a more secure way of connecting with people. Let's talk about how. All right, so the most direct path to becoming more secure, get into a relationship with someone who's already there. Seriously, think of it like learning a new language through immersion. A secure partner provides that steady, safe base that calms down anxious tendencies. And it shows an avoidant person that, hey, intimacy can actually feel good and safe. The second strategy, and this is something that literally anyone can start working on right now, is learning to communicate effectively. This just means asking for what you need clearly and directly, instead of, doing protest behaviors or just shutting down and hoping your partner can magically read your mind.
And it's not super complicated. It really just boils down to these three things. First, be specific. Tell them exactly what you're feeling. Second, don't blame them. Own your feelings. It's not their fault you feel anxious. It's just how you're wired. And third, be assertive. It is perfectly okay to have needs. You don't need to apologize for them. And this, right here, this is the ultimate test. When you actually communicate your needs in this clear, non-blaming way, their response tells you everything you need to know. If they listen and they care and they try to help you feel secure, that's a huge green light. But if they brush you off or make you feel bad for having needs, well, then you know this relationship probably isn't going anywhere healthy. So look, understanding all these patterns is huge. It's the first step. But the real change, that only happens when you take action. So thinking about your own life, your own relationships, what's the first honest, effective conversation you need to have?